It was mid-June 2015 when we found out we were coming to Ukraine, and September when we actually arrived here. So we had about 2.5 months to prepare. My husband and I took Ukrainian classes online, and it wasn't our first time living outside of the United States, and we're adults, so we felt like we were able to mentally picture what it would be like and prepare ourselves. And on top of that, we were just thrilled at the opportunity because we've always wanted to come to Ukraine. Our sons, though, were probably not as ready. We talked about it a lot, and they were excited to be traveling. But, for example, my 7-year-old son, he keeps a compass with him, and whenever we let him, he checks the GPS on our phones, so he knows where he is, and a watch, so he knows the time. And when we're driving somewhere in the United States, he reads all the billboards, the advertisements, the road signs, and he orients himself really through these details. But here, when we arrived in Ukraine, he didn't know the first thing. The alphabet, for example, he couldn't read the signs. So our first weekend here in Vinnytsia, we decided to go to the library. Going to the library had been a part of our weekly routine in the United States, so it was just the first place that we thought of to experience a new community and to find some learning resources. The lady behind the desk recommended some simple children's books in Ukrainian, so we sat down and began. I remember I was with my 5-year-old son. We looked at the letters, how to say yes and no and please and thank you, basic stuff. And I thought it was going pretty well. When we got to the end, my son decided to reverse roles. So he wanted to teach me what he had learned. And what he said, I think, reflects something universal about this early beginning stage of learning a language, when everything is unfamiliar or new, and our mind is working in overdrive to bring some kind of predictability, some kind of recognizable pattern to it all. My son told me some Ukrainian letters are friends with English letters. They're exactly the same. But some letters are tricky. They trick you. They look the same, but they sound different. Like in English, we say yes, and in Ukrainian, they say tak. And then, in a bold but inaccurate effort at illustrating his point, he ended, or in America, when we say hi, Ukrainians say ni. He was kind of making a joke, I think. But also he was just beginning to understand. And as part of the process, he began by getting it all wrong.